in 2005 that you gave it a little, you could hear it because the only engine out there was the OX5 engine in the A1, and you could hear you giving a little power, and also you could see you sticking it with the elevator. Just once you hit, you stuck it right there, and that was the move. I think probably as amateur builders that we are, I think one wing is gonna stall before the other one, or no way you're gonna get them installed together. So it's got to be landed at a flying speed.
Well, I wasn't looking for a full stall, just to make
Right.
sure the nose was high enough, and that's why I did that. It turns out I didn't have to do that, but that was after 5.5 minutes of total flying time and 7 flights. And I was worried that I'd be landing on the curved portion of the bottom of the bow, not nose down, slightly nose down. And if that were the case, it would cause a pitch up and a little bit of a porpoise. So that's why I did that. And it turns out I didn't need to after reviewing the video. But I saw that the deck angle was correct, and I've tried to maintain that. It was reading 50 on the airspeed indicator as opposed to 40. And I don't know how accurate that was, but that became the landing speed once I did that.
What do you think your speed in flight has been? I mean, you've had the last few flights. You've had an opportunity to look at the instruments a little bit.
That's right. There wasn't time before that.
There was time before, yeah. I couldn't time to look.
Well, the airspeed indicator in cruise was indicating about 65. And when I was making the flight last year on the Saturday, I slowed down. I backed the power off a little coming around in the turn, and it slowed up to about 55 and did very well, flew and handled well in that point. I was still in the turn. And then I added a little bit of power and it went right back up to 65. I have seen 75 on it, but we don't know if that, due to the pitot-static system, if that's really 75. But for the most part, I was keeping it, looking for a cruising speed indicated of 65 miles per hour.
The only indication I had was following in a boat, and our boat would go about 40, and you were going away from me every time you took off.
That's what I think is about the liftoff speed.
Yeah.
And slightly less than that, 35 maybe. But at 40, I've come to the determination that you don't have enough smack, if you will, to flare or control. The ailerons, it has to do with the angle of attack with the top or bottom wing or the tail plane or something. I'm not exactly sure. So that's why I've made the minimum speed on it to be 50, and that's what my recommendation is to anyone else that flies it would be.
Yeah, I think we're going to write down all these, or we have written down all these tips really, because we started out with information that we've gotten from San Diego on their A1 flights way back in '75 or so, and they didn't have enough information really for us.
They only had the one flight, I believe,
didn't
they? It was a straight flight. So
flight out
the more I fly this, the more I feel very comfortable in it and more stable. This year I actually flew it hands off. I don't know if you actually knew that.
I heard that afterwards. That's
that was in a bank, and I took off, and I was in a bank, stabilized, and I said, you know what, I'm not pushing, pulling, or turning, so I'm going to let go of it for a second. And I did for a couple seconds, and it was just as stable and nice as